So Kamala Harris is like, get me on these podcasts. So what's your favorite one? I want to do one that reminds me of what it was like for me before I was Miss Important Kamala Harris. They're like, well, there is a podcast called Call Her Daddy where they talk about college girls banging the mascot because they're bored of banging huge football players. Does that sound familiar? She's like, well, if you replace football players with mayor of San Francisco and other famous celebrities, then yes, that does sound very familiar. So Kamala Harris went on Call Her Daddy, the podcast well known for such topics as, will I have a foursome, and other interesting things like that. And I think that her performance was amazing. She really showed how dynamic, how important the things she has to say are. She is a woman that's in control. She's a woman who knows how to lead. You put her in the seat and you put her on the spot, and she is going to spit hot fire that resonates with all the American people. I'll give you a super quick taste of what that looks like.
You're telling a survivor of a crime, of a violation to their body, they don't have a right to make a decision about what happens to their body next?
Okay, so I'm sure you guys can guess where that's going, right? So she's going to use the entire time that she's on this show, right? See, let's fast forward. Let's see if she's also still talking about abortion.
Those kids. Her best friend's probably not with her because that's who's taking care of the kid.
Oh, okay, cool. Still talking about abortion. Let's see if there's anything else.
About IVF treatments and access.
Oh, again, more abortion. Let's just drag it a little further. Let's see if she's talking about abortion.
2 years ago, before Roe v. Wade was...
Oh, more. Okay. So we'll watch more of that. But just so we're clear, she spent the entire time on this show talking about abortion. Now, you might wonder, well, what kind of podcast is this? Because I'm sure you guys have seen Donald Trump do lots of shows, which get amazing comments and like ratios. And I would challenge you to install the plugin where you can still see the downvotes, okay? And then you can go look at, okay, here's the video of Trump on Theo Von, likes and dislikes, and then go read the comments. Go look at how many positive comments there are, how many negative comments there are, okay? And then look at him on the Nelk Boys, right? And I understand most people are going to be like, oh, right, but Theo and the Nelk Boys, those are bros. Those are like the comedy, MMA, like the comedy hybrid MMA bros. So of course people like Jesse on Fire are the ones who watch that stuff and then like it and comment. It's like, really? Well, do I watch Call Her Daddy? No, I had never seen Call Her Daddy. Now, why don't you take 2 seconds and subscribe to this channel and also like this video? I'm trying to hit 4,000 likes or 8,000 likes or I don't know, a big number. I'd actually never watched this before, okay? And I'm sure that you guys are curious now, well, what kind of podcast is Call Her Daddy? Well, like where Theo Von is kind of like comedy, so on, so forth, etc. And, the Nelk Boys are kind of the same thing. Impulsive is another one that he did where me and Logan found common ground. Actually, I'm sure I would find plenty of common ground with him as long as he stopped suing and destroying people's lives. But nonetheless, right? Another one that he did, very positive stuff. They're like personalities. Well, this is Alex. She's a personality. But like, what specifically do they talk about? So this one's called Threesomes. This one's called I Effed the Mascot. Okay. And I'll let you hear a little bit of this just so you can get an idea. Because this is the show that Kamala Harris decided to do. Okay. This is the show where she's like, I need to get out. I need to do what Trump's doing. So I'm going to do this show. And I think it kind of makes sense if you think about it, right?
And people think I'm making this shit up. I'm like, my entire life has always been me getting in trouble with my dean of students in high school to my soccer college. Like, it was just awful.
One of my wildest nights for D1 tennis, I'm at a D1 school, because you probably have some wild nights.
Yes.
One was I had a dick appointment. Okay. Like, those nights when you go out and you already have a dick appointment?
Oh my God, it's great.
So I was fucking these big football dudes, and I just wasn't having fun anymore, and I said, I need to fuck the next thing closest to an athlete, but not an athlete, and that's the mascot.
Yep. Now, let me tell you about the sponsor of this video, Prize Picks. If you've been watching my content for the last month at least, you've seen me do a lot of spots for these guys, and that's because they are a main sponsor of my channel now, and I have been having a blast. I play this game every single week during football season, during the UFC, because it's fun. All you do is you pick players and you go higher or lower than the stat line that's given to them. Now, that might sound like a very specific type of game that you're not allowed to play in the United States. Well, this is fantasy sports, and it ain't that. However, you stand to win a ton of money. It's easy to get your money in. It's easy to get your money out. And the game is amazing. Now, you may notice if you are paying attention to my balance that it's a little higher this week than it was last week. And that's because I played a bunch of lineups in the UFC on Saturday, and I absolutely crushed, son. I crushed business. So I will challenge you guys to pick any type of sport and get in on one. Right now, I'm going to pick some guys for tonight. This is my entry fee, and then my prize, if I'm right on both, will be $60, son. That's 3-1. And all I have to do is get these two things right. So do yourself a favor. Go in the comment section, not the comment section, the description of this video. Click the link and use the promo code JesseOnFire to get a free $50 bonus once you have played $5 in one of the games. You will love it, I promise. Enjoy. So Kamala Harris is like, get me on these podcasts. So what's your favorite one? She's like, well, I want to do one that reminds me of my own past, you know? I want to do one that reminds me of what it was like for me before I was Miss Important Kamala Harris. They're like, well, there is a podcast called Call Her Daddy where they talk about, you know, college girls banging the mascot because they're bored of banging huge football players. Does that sound familiar? She's like, well, if you replace football players with mayor of San Francisco and other famous celebrities, then yes, that does sound very familiar. They're like, okay, this is great. She's like, what other, are there any other episodes that we could look at that, that might suit my fancy? She's like, let's just look at random. How about let's look at this episode called Threesomes.
I have a really random thought for you about threesomes.
Oh, yeah.
And foursomes.
Yes.
This is so strange. Okay. I have been in relationships before where I'm like, I will never have a threesome with you. I will never have a foursome with you. Get it the fuck out of my face, because I was just too much in the relationship, too far down. I'm at a weird place right now, and I have never in my life really thought about this. I've had a threesome before. I've never had a foursome.
So this is what they chose, right? So North Carolina is underwater, right? Israel is going to war with everyone, right? Another video coming today. Israel blew up Lebanon again. You got Ukraine and Russia, presidential election, all that stuff. And you're like, okay, so what could I do? The people running her campaign, what could I do to best demonstrate what my presidency will be like? They're like, well, you could A, get involved overseas in what could lead to World War III. You could B, go show leadership domestically, even more important, after a biblical flood just basically destroyed the lives of an entire region of the country, killed hundreds and thousands of people, hundreds and thousands. I didn't say hundreds of thousands. We don't know. We have no idea how many people got killed. But I saw a thing yesterday, the amount of affected area was the size of Belgium in North Carolina alone. So we could do that, that seems like a pressing issue that we could go show some leadership, right? That'd be a good use of our time, maybe. Or we could go on a podcast well known for talking about the sexual exploits of girls in their 20s and early 30s, and we could talk about abortion rights. And then that's it. Nothing else, just abortion rights. Because obviously the people who watch this show are people who like to get pregnant accidentally. And so this just seemed like, what's more important? Leadership in either a global conflict that we are directly involved in, saving people's lives in America and trying to rebuild the country, or using an issue, misrepresenting it completely as it relates to the election, and then, capitalizing on women who like to have casual sex and want access to abortions in a convenient manner. Not because they won't be able to get it, but because they want it as convenient as possible. Okay. And they went with option C, right? That's what they did. I can't even explain to you how ludicrous her appearance is. I'm going to show you a portion of this where it is unbelievable. Okay. Like I cannot explain to you how unbelievably stupid this entire thing is. Okay. Because this is just the reality of the situation. Okay. This is just the reality of the situation right here. Trump has publicly said he'll veto anything that relates to limiting any access to abortion at a federal level. Straight up. He has said this outright. And yet that is the one issue that they have focused on like a laser. Every time they ask for something specific that these people are going to do if they're elected, that's what they go to every single time. Every single time. And I want you to listen to how absolutely ludicrous and egregious this this talk track is for Kamala, because, you do a podcast like this, you have to kind of go off the cuff. You get like some talking, you get some talking points, but you're having a conversation. You can't read off a teleprompter. So this is her giving, in her best effort, trying to paint the current state of female reproductive rights as, like a Handmaid's Tale, right? So listen to this representation of what it's like in America now because of Trump somehow, because Supreme Court justices that he put in took away Roe v. Wade. Okay. And by the way, one part you're not going to see in this is that Alex said that they had their constitutional right to abortion taken away. Okay. I didn't know that was written into the Constitution. Pretty sure it's not. But anyway, let's continue though and listen to Kamala Harris tell this story. We're picking up where Kamala Harris said, let me tell you a personal story about someone who needs an abortion and what they have to go through now.
The majority of women who receive abortion care are mothers. So if she's in a...
Is that true? Okay, so it turns out that actually is true per the data. Let's continue.
A state, and by the way, every state in the South, except for Virginia, has an abortion ban. Okay? So imagine she's in a state with an abortion ban. 1 out of 3 women are, by the way, in our country. And she's a mom. So she's going to have to figure out, one, God help her if she has affordable childcare. God help her if she has paid leave.
To be clear, where she's going with this is she is about to paint the fact that a woman who wants an abortion flying to a different state is equivalent to being dropped in the middle of the Saudi desert where they're going to have to walk 58 miles without water or food somehow. Okay, like literally just listen to this. Listen how absurd this is. What she is going to describe is a woman having to get childcare and then fly to another state. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that's easy. I'm not even saying I have an opinion on this issue, but listen to how stupid this is.
And then she's going to have to go to the airport, stand in a TSA line, sit on a plane next to a perfect stranger to go to a city where she's never been.
Oh my God.
To receive the care she needs. She's going to probably have to get right back on that plane because she's got those kids. Her best friend's probably not with her because that's who's taking care of the kids. To get back in that TSA line, to get back on a plane, to go home.
No! She's going to have to fly to another city by herself? No person should ever be forced to get on a plane for any reason to get something done that they can't get done locally. No. This just can't be the result of, give me a fucking break, dude. Okay? That's how you frame that, dude. Somebody should have talked to you about that. It's like, okay, no one's going to fall for the old, she's going to have to get in the TSA line. She's going to have to go through security. She doesn't know anyone in this new city. So she has a best friend to watch a kid, but she doesn't know anybody that could maybe travel with her. This is just so stupid, dude. God.
And that's all if they can even afford the plane ticket.
Exactly.
Listen to the smart girl. Okay. So you have one smart person here, It's amazing that you actually have 2 women here. One of them's running for president and the other one does a podcast about fucking mascots. And the one that fucks mascots is the one smart enough to figure out that the more challenging way to have to go out of state would not be on a plane. It would be, who knows, ride a bike, jump on a bus, take an Amtrak. But she's smart. You put Kamala in a situation where she doesn't have cue cards. If you want to frame this tough, maybe take flying out of it. You're talking about poor women. But Kamala being a down home, she understands the people. She's one of us, you guys. That's what you need to understand. Kamala's one of us, which is why she actually couldn't even put into her hypothetical scenario not being able to afford a flight. Because in her world, that, that's kind of impossible. So when I say one of us, I mean she's one of us that will never be able to even contemplate what it's like to be a poor person because she's not that. She's never been that. And so they're not, maybe they're not really human to her. But the smart girl came up with it. And again, Alex from Call Her Daddy is the smart one in the room by comparison with Kamala Harris. Unbelievable.
Or the bus ticket.
Exactly.
Because when Roe v. Wade was overturned, I remember my DMs were flooded with thousands of women begging me to help. And it's overwhelming.
You get the idea. Just for more ammunition for me to talk, though, let's just watch a little bit more of this. I fast forwarded a couple minutes at random. Let's see what she's got now.
It's outrageous.
It's outrageous. I mean, daddy gang, to put it in our TikTok terms, I have seen girls on the street walk up to men and be like, do you know where a tampon goes? Do you know how many tampons we use? Do you even know how, do you know what a X or Y or Z is of a part of our, and they don't know the answer.
I was the first.
Okay, listen, I want to be very clear about this, okay? Some people might get angry about this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I had never seen Call Her Daddy ever. I'd never once watched it. I knew what it was. I'd never watched it. I watched a couple episodes today because I wanted to, pull up clips for this video. I like Alex, dude. Me and her would get along really well. She is the exact kind of girl, this personality type I am super good friends with, and there's zero attraction there at all because I don't know, girls that talk that much about banging dudes, it's a huge turnoff for me, which it doesn't matter anyway. I'm married regardless, but I'm just saying that's why I can be such good friends with them is because there's nothing there at all for me. And I have a bunch of girlfriends who are just like her because I think they're hilarious. They're literally like one of the guys, But I can also be critical of this idiotic point that she just made because how is that relevant? The point she's making, she's like, I've seen these TikToks of these girls going around and asking men, do you know where a tampon goes? It's what? Okay, so, if that's really bizarre. I'm pretty sure they know where it goes, but either way, so they don't know. Do you know what this is? Okay, how is that relevant? Well, they're against abortion rights. They're against killing a baby. Now, I'm really not trying to sound holier than thou because empathy comes very, very naturally to me. And so I understand both sides of this argument. But hello, okay, that's what they genuinely believe. It's unbelievable to me to people who can't put themselves in other people's positions. They are trying to protect babies. And you guys, they are trying to protect women who are in positions where they genuinely cannot have another child. And I'm not getting into the ins and outs of this conversation, but it's just relax, you guys, and actually understand the opposing argument so you can address those issues. Because where does a tampon go has nothing to do with why they're against it. It's just an idiotic argument. Okay. And these on the other side, picking the most extreme examples, being like, oh, they want to kill babies at 9 months. It's okay, obviously that should not be allowed. Obviously. Okay. But if you don't understand why it's important to them to not get forced into having a child in a situation where they genuinely are drowning underneath the weight of their own life, then come on, dude. They're not out to kill babies. That's not their point in most cases, right? So it's if you don't understand the other side's argument, how can you even have a productive conversation about it? You could just do what Kamala Harris does and just lie about it. You could just completely lie and misrepresent everything. You could do that, right? That's an approach you can take. Now, I would be remiss if I did not play this part for you guys. And I think I'm going to make this the final segment of this video because I think it's the most impactful, and I'll reference it earlier to make sure that most people watch it. But this is the very beginning. This is the very first thing that she says in this clip. And it's just the audacity of this approach to this campaign is shocking. And I'll explain exactly why.
So he who, when he was president, hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did just as he intended. And there are now 20 states with Trump abortion bans, including bans that make no exception for rape or incest, which we just discussed, which means that you're telling a survivor of a crime of a violation to their body they don't have a right to make a decision about what happens to their body next, which is immoral. So
I'm sorry. Go over that one more time. They don't get to decide what happens with their body next, which is immoral. That's what you just said, Kamala Harris. That's what you just said. You actually said that. With no sense of irony, with no self-awareness, you actually just said that. Let's continue real quick and let's just see what else she has to say about this.
This is the same guy that is now saying that. This is the same guy who said that women should be punished for having abortions.
Oh, when did he say that? I'm sorry. He said that when? And Trump abortion bans? Oh, that's what he said? Like, Trump said that they should ban abortions? Are we sure he didn't actually say he'll veto any type of limitation on abortions at the federal level? Like, where he was actually consistent? You know, like he was actually consistent where he was against mandates, right? The mandates, you may recall mandates, which you supported and your entire party supported, which is why the number of people who support the big guy now is that size. You did this to yourselves, okay? Now, you are going to pretend like he supports that versus the Supreme Court undoing Roe v. Wade, which all it did is say federal government's not involved in this. Okay, this is the most widely misrepresented issue I have ever seen in the history of American politics while I've been paying attention. And that's a fact. Okay, when I'm talking just straight up, misrepresented completely. Every single person on the left that talks to me about why they support this is talking about this issue. And they're going, oh, yeah, it's because of, women's rights, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. As if the federal government passed some kind of limitation on a women's right to choose, which is not what happened at all. They undid a law which made rules at the federal level. Okay, they just said, no, there's no reason, there's no basis for the federal government to be involved in this particular decision. Leave it up to the states. And then the states individually made the choice to do that. Now, let me tell you what that is exactly like, okay? Let me tell you how that is identical to something that impacted my own life, okay? The state governments decided that they were going to implement bans on people working in jobs if they did not have the jab. Right? Remember that? The states did that. You want to know what I had to do? I had to leave. Okay? We had to leave the state. I also lost my job. Okay? So if you want to live in a place that where that's so important, then move there. Well, some people can't do that. Yeah, I know. I know that. And some people also couldn't do what I had to do. And the thing is, one party actually supported the federal ban on people working there. Okay. So again, what you're actually talking about is which party believes the federal government should make rules for the entire country about body autonomy. One of the parties says we should not be involved in that at all at a federal level. There's no reason why we should be involved in body autonomy. That's their choice, or local government if they want to. And the other one says, no, we absolutely should tell people what they can and can't do with their body. Okay? Because they are the ones who support federally mandating that this is available, or federally mandating that you take this or take that or whatever. And this is being represented as if they have the opposing, thing where, no, you should federally ban it. It's not true. It's a lie. It is just a lie. It's just a lie. Just another lie. And again, the audacity of them bringing up this issue as if like they care about body autonomy is absolutely mind-blowing. The fact that anyone could say the thing about body autonomy if they supported the mandates is like, I can't. I can't. Because consistency is very important to me. And I have consistently recognized that I have talked for too long on this video, and I have a lot of other videos to do. So I'm going to cut this one off, and now I'm going to go look at what's going on with this hurricane that apparently is going to be a Category 5 that is hitting Florida right now. So thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. Peace.